Hello, everybody. This is Ben Atkinson. It's a Thursday evening at 6 p.m. I am finished for the Easter weekend. I've been working from home in isolation for about 3.5 weeks, something like that. And I'm now finished for the weekend until next Wednesday after the Easter break. So there'll be many more chapters of Walking on Cinders through the Easter weekend. I hope you can stay safe, stay at home, and enjoy as much of the weekend as you possibly can. This, as you know by now, is Walking on Cinders. This is the book that I'm reading every night here at 6 p.m. to give you the story, and we are by now on to chapter 16. So without further ado, I will read from chapter 16 of Walking on Cinders. Minutes after Belle Lavette had fallen into Ewan's capable arms, the groups were on the move again. Jennifer had raised the alarm, watching as a dilapidated tractor fired up once again and headed back out towards the road. They had no choice but to run, and so they did, with Ewan still carrying a numbed Belle tightly in his arms. They had barely reached the end of the street before a traditional blue and white police car. The Germand had been sceptical about the new hovercar design from the very beginning, came speeding up towards the farmhouse, parking so that it blocked the entrance and the only available exit for the twins' father. He was desperately trying to pursue his teenage runaways. As they rounded the corner, the sisters took one final look back towards their family home and watched with a mixture of surprise and disgust as the portly farmer was handcuffed by a police officer and marched towards the back seat of his awkwardly parked patrol car. The little group disappeared. Renee reached into her pocket for her tiny holographic phone. She waved it before the others and then suddenly realised. "I didn't see you phone the police," Jennifer said, stunned. "I work in mysterious ways," Renee protested, giggling. Ewan smiled, brushing the hair back from Belle's closed eyes, and adjusted his arm so that he held her more comfortably. She was really unusually delicate. "And the day's not over yet." "Oh, but Belle," Renee cooed, looking at her sister's limp body. "She fell from such a height." "But she's breathing," Ewan replied. "I felt her pulse, and when we got a little further from the village, we can rest and we can wait for her to come round." "Yes," agreed Jennifer, who, along with Renee, was now carrying one of the very uncomfortable backpacks that Belle had managed to fill before her escape. "Besides, we're going to need somewhere to bed down soon, and it will give us a chance to change into the clothes that Belle has managed to find for us." Her words alerted them to the evening darkness which was slowly beginning to draw in. For a while they walked in total silence, each knowing their situation was now all the more dangerous, none knowing the right thing to say. Neither Ewan nor Jennifer had any idea when they would see Chris or Thomas again, as they had done the wrong thing, strayed from the village, so if they were to come looking for them, they would not be there. "But we have friends at the barracks," Ewan said suddenly, breaking the silence and stopping dead in the middle of the road. "They told us to wait in the nearest village and that they'd come and find us." Jennifer turned and walked back to Ewan, leaving Renee standing alone. She could see the tiredness in his eyes and the fear. This man was heroic, a world away from the person she had met on a dance floor and seen outside the cafe only days before. She loved him now, more so after what they had been through. "Chris and Thomas will be all right," she whispered, looking at Ewan in the same way she had done the night in her dressing room. He melted instantly. "Chris is a born leader. I bet you they've arrived already. Soon they'll be out looking for us whether we're at the village or not." Ewan's gaze dropped. She was right, of course, but it didn't stop him from missing his comrades. He had never been separated from them before like this. First the crash, then the endless walking, now this, he breathed. So much has happened in such a short time. "I know," Jennifer said, forgetting that they were not alone. She was quite suddenly brought back to her senses. "I thought I knew this road," Renee called, poking her head out from around the next corner. "Along here is the turn-off, and then we shall come to the new stables, and they are owned by the men our papa wants us to marry." Her look was almost devilish. "But Renee," Jennifer protested, sounding not unlike Belle, "surely you're not suggesting that we stay there for the night? Not after the way you found us this morning." But the French girl's expression did not change. "That is exactly what I'm suggesting. It would be the perfect way to seal the deception, no? I would like to take at least one thing from them." And with that she disappeared again, leaving Ewan and Jennifer bewildered. They had already begun to follow when she shouted to them again. "And you have to keep telling me about this crash. When Belle is awake, I want to know everything." It was much later. The day, which had been bright, gave way to a torrent of rain that lashed down upon the roof like a hail of bullet fire. The stables themselves were unsurprisingly comfortable, and it had been easier than anticipated to break open the front panels and sneak inside. Now they were searching for warmth among the straw, and they tried to restore their energy. Belle came round, but for a while she was groggy and could not bear to talk. The others, for fear of upsetting her, felt it was best to leave such discussion for later. They would come to it all in good time. Instead, Rennie had made sure to extract every last detail from Ewan and Jennifer about the crash, the journey, and everything that had led them to this point. They talked quietly for long periods, with Renee checking the time on her holographic phone every now and again, surprised that time was moving so slowly. When they grew tired of talking, they finally committed themselves to sleep. Jennifer had locked herself into Ewan's embrace, and Rennie hugged her weak sister close, but they soon found that their surroundings were close to unbearable. They were sleeping on a hard, uncomfortable floor, and in the end realised that sleep was no longer an option. They had decided to venture out into the night air instead, tinged with a chill that was left by the departing rain. Now they were standing together in the dark, looking up at the stars that filled the night sky. "I still do not see how we could have walked all this way after the accident," Belle whispered meekly. When I was out like a light, and only after falling from an upstairs window. It must have been a terrible experience for you." "It was horrific," Ewan replied, tightening his grip around Jennifer, not wanting to discuss the topic any longer. "Soon you'll be back with your friends," Rennie added, "and we can all work together to do the best we can." There was something about the night time. Everything is so much colder and darker. You feel the need to seek safety. The night is for those with something to hide, but yet there is a hidden beauty in it. Here a full moon shone down, a million stars flickered in the heavens, and a light glowed from the top of a distant hill. "If you look carefully," Belle breathed, almost silently, "you can see the lights from Montrebo Manor." She looked at her sister, and they both closed their eyes for a moment. "That is where the brothers live," she added. "They are rich, powerful, and we have no desire to marry them." "Life is strange," Jennifer agreed. "I mean, look at the situation we are in now." "We want to escape," both twins said in unison, their auburn hair caught in the moonlight. Rennie turned to Ewan before continuing. "Perhaps now is the best time, with the stars to guide us. We often visit the cliff edge. We know the way." Ewan breathed deeply, tasting dampness of the air, and then looked around at the others. The roads would not be dangerous at this time of night, and if they wanted to get to the barracks without being seen, it was a good option. "Let's go," he mouthed, looking back towards the stables. "Get changed, grab your things. We've already eaten, let's go." He felt like an officer. He was in charge. He felt like Chris. It was strangely exhilarating. Together they changed in silence, Ewan glad to replace his old army uniform with the clothes Belle had taken from her father. He unpinned his badges and placed them on the chest of the worn woolen shirt so that people would still recognise his rank. Jennifer easily squeezed into a tight pair of jeans and a long t-shirt that she knew immediately belonged to Renee, and the twins found by coincidence that they were matching jumpers in the backpack. Soon they were ready, and they set off down the road, carefully shutting the doors of the barn behind them. The twins were right. The stars provided more than enough light to guide them down the winding roads. With the landscape still in darkness and the movements hidden by the shadows, they made quick progress. The road they were walking on soon came to an end, and Belle followed low hedges before reminding Renee of a gap that led to a rocky track. The track took them across fields and through a narrow patch of woodland. Walking close together, the twins led the way, while Ewan and Jennifer held hands tightly, and they brought up the rear. It was not long before they had reached the path to the cliff edge. The hill sloped gently upwards, leading to a steep downward incline which Chris and Thomas had negotiated only the previous day. By the time they stopped to look out over the plain, they were almost too tired to continue. Rain lit up the mountain range, and Ewan felt a connection. They would be safe here. They would come to no harm. "Wow," he whispered in awe as Belle and Renee grinned back at him. "You see why we come here, just to look?" Belle replied in earnest. "This is the Chain de Puys mountain range," her sister continued, and pointed at the group of mismatched buildings at the foot. "The barracks. At last. We might have to go down there backwards." Instinctively, Jennifer squeezed Ewan's hand tightly. There was magic here, and they could both feel it. for below they knew their comrades were waiting for them. And that is chapter 16 of Walking on Cinders. This is my novel. I shall be back tomorrow evening to read from you. Again, I'll read chapter 17 this time tomorrow evening.